Fala galera do Hipnose na Prática, estou trazendo junto com o Michael Arruda. O Michael, se você não sabe, ele é o maior especialista em Cherry Elman no Brasil. Ele é o único representante da Omni, que é uma das também maiores empresas aí treinadoras de Cherry Elman do mundo inteiro. Então, estamos trazendo as melhores dicas e sacadas para você. Se você não conhece, vou deixar aqui embaixo também o link do Michael Arruda, vou deixar também o link do site do SllepTalk, do Larry. Você vai ter bastante conteúdo. Mas vamos começar agora as nossas entrevistas, saber um pouquinho mais como que é esse lado da hipnose, que não é daqui, né? Eles são dos Estados Unidos, então eles estão trazendo umas novidades bem legais. Hoje nós vamos falar sobre como hipnotizar crianças, como você tratar crianças. Na verdade, ela vai falar um pouco mais sobre trato dos pais, tem umas coisas bem interessantes. Então, Chery, muito obrigado. Fale um pouco mais sobre você.
Thank you very much for inviting us to do this, Filipo. It was a pleasure having you in our class. I am Cherry Elman. I'm from the United States. I live in North Carolina, and I am a hypnosis instructor, and I am a hypnotist, and I'm a trainer of the SllepTalk for Children process that is developed by Joan Goulding, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Como foi a primeira vez que você começou a hipnotizar e a tratar crianças?
Well, I started, first of all, I have a background, I have a degree in education and special education. And I worked with children in the schools. I also was in sales and marketing for many years. I also was the director of after-school tutoring programs. We would go out after school and help the children that needed extra help for reading and math. And then I had an arts and craft company where I would go to schools and I would go to churches and camps and work with children, anywhere from 10 children at a time to 300 children at a time. So I guess throughout my career I've always had some connection with children and parents and homes. And when I started in hypnosis, and I guess there's a funny story on how that happened, because my husband is Dave Elman's son, as you know, and Sean Michael Andrews is a big Dave Elman fan, and he was researching, and he was going to find that son, because he knew that Dave had some sons. He was going to find one, and he found us through our arts and craft company that years ago when it was in Florida, and actually kept researching and found that Larry was doing airplane programs with the children too, and so he contacted Larry and asked, "Are you the son of Dave Elman?" And he was, and he came, he goes, "I'd like to come interview." I mean, Larry has answered questions over the years, but he came and interviewed him. And while they were interviewing all day, they never stopped talking. They told each other stories. Sean Michael Andrews stuck my hand to the table, and he stuck my hand to my head, and I said, "I want to do this." And so he became my instructor. I had stopped smoking 16 years earlier with hypnosis, so I knew it worked. So from then we started traveling and talking about Dave Elman, and then I became an instructor. So that is how the hypnosis part came. In 2011, we were speaking at a hypnosis conference in Los Angeles when I met Joan Goulding. And she and I immediately connected. We were actually on an education panel together, you know, as one of the classes. And we had a lot of similar beliefs about children, and it started a good friendship that is still very much alive today. And I realized how much I loved her process, and how much it could increase families healing, children becoming happier, and also the family changing. Because if you just change the child and they go back to the same environment, it doesn't last as long as if the whole thing changes around them.
Sure. Explica um pouco mais para o pessoal que está nos ouvindo sobre o SllepTalk, essa técnica revolucionária aí que eu estou gostando muito de aprender.
SllepTalk is a process. It's not a therapy, it's a process that we as consultants we train the parents to speak to their children 2 to 3 minutes a night, and that through this foundation statement, through the process, they slowly gain a positive belief structure about themselves that replaces the negative beliefs that they get from school, from sometimes parents, other children. So it is slowly building their self-esteem, their confidence, and they feel much better about themselves. They become happier children.
Chery, o que é possível tratar com o SllepTalk? Quais são os problemas que a gente pode resolver com as crianças, né, com essa técnica do SllepTalk?
A lot of problems can be helped by SllepTalk. Bedwetting, self-confidence, learning and focus problems, physical problems. We've even had cases where it's helped children with eye problems. A lot of, it will help the child that's being bullied. It will help the child that is a bully. Better, it's that foundation. When people come to us for hypnosis, the main thing that everything centers on is stress. Once you relieve that stress, and so many more of the things start to fall in place. So as you increase this child's self-esteem, feeling good about themselves, all the other things start to fall in place. And the list is, it's good for children with ADD, asthma, many physical problems. Originally, Joan Goulding, who is the originator of this, started this process to talk and to work with her child who had multiple disabilities, multiple things wrong with her. She had physical problems. She had IQ problems. She had dyspraxia, which kept her from speaking very well. And her communication was not there. And so this has helped Michelle over the years, and this is how the process started. So this is good for a child with special needs. It's good for a child that's just what we would call normal. It's great for a child with, with gifted children with a lot more capabilities, because along with those comes other issues itself. So it's really good for any child. I think we can all use a little bit more self-esteem.
É uma coisa muito interessante que até o pessoal do Brasil deveriam aprender, e eles querem, talvez, os hipnotistas que estão nos assistindo deveriam entender o quanto essa técnica pode ajudar esses terapeutas, essas pessoas que querem aprender um pouco mais sobre como tratar as crianças.
That's a great question. Thank you. This could help anybody who is a hypnotherapist, who is a teacher, who is a social worker, a psychologist, anybody that works with children. The way this helps them build their practice, well, first of all, let's talk about the hypnotist. They work with the child, they send them home, they get whatever the issue is improved with hypnosis, and then when they send the child home, it is the same environment. And if nothing changes there, sooner or later, the gain that they get in hypnosis sometimes starts to be lost. Have you found that?
Yes.
So once you're doing the SllepTalk process, it is most usual that not only is there a change in the child, the parents begin to feel it also. Sometimes right from the beginning, sometimes as it progresses. And just the process of doing it with them and learning about the different aspects of their child, they start to see some of the things they do and some of the things they feel, and there is a shift, there is a change in their actions, their speaking, their showing their love to the child. It becomes much more open, much more two ways. So when this happens, then the gain, the work that the hypnotist has done with the child, is more likely to be more everlasting when it is being helped from home also, just in a different way. But that child is being supported in a different way. So that's number one. The teacher, it can help the teacher to, if they have children in their class that are very difficult and act out a lot, there's so many reasons for that to be. And if a teacher can help parents to do this process at home, then the children are going to gain, and no longer, or their behavior in the classroom will improve. And not only will their learning improve, but the children around them will improve also because of this. Social worker, psychologist, it all helps. But now, how does it help them also build their business? Because it does. As a hypnotist, you will be invited to speak in less places than when you say, "Hi, I'm Cherry Elman, and I do SllepTalk for children." And they go, "Really? Tell me about that." So people are very excited about it. Building the self-esteem is a lot more easy on everybody, as opposed to, did you ever get, "I'm a hypnotist," and they go, "Don't look at me"? Yeah, have you ever experienced that? But you don't get that with SllepTalk. So now you get invited to churches, to preschools, to parent-teacher groups, to all different places, mommy and me groups, if they have those here in Brazil, where the mommies get together, the kids play, the mommies play. So all these different groups, they like to have speakers. They want to know more. And so it's interesting. It's different. You come and talk to them. Like, remember when we did the legacy tree? Yeah. There's so many different things you can do with parents to just, even if just getting to hear you talk for 10, 20 minutes and present an idea, that it opens them up and opens up the idea of wanting to do this process. Or even just the idea, taking that little bit home, if they never do anything else, they start to feel change in themselves. So it just opens up being able to talk about what you do. And of course, what you do is also hypnosis, and everybody's got a mother, a brother, an uncle, an aunt that needs to stop smoking, that needs weight. So it opens up, it gives you an opportunity to have more exposure in many more places than just hypnosis itself.
E Chery, conte para nós um caso que foi bem interessante de você tratar, que foi emocionalmente intrigante para você, e explique como é que foi esse tratamento, como é que foi para você?
Thank you. That's a great question too. I had a family I was working with, and by the way, this is an excellent thing that you do not always have to be there. I love to do it over Skype. So I have families I work with all around the world. And this one family, they had 3 children, and the first child that they were really trying to concentrate on, when they called me, you do an assessment. And in that assessment, there is a scale similar to like 1 through 6. It's very poor, okay, good, very good, and excellent. And this child, out of 30 some odd questions, had 19 very poor areas in what their parents have felt and experienced as a snapshot of what that child was like. And I was so happy that, and the mom was immediately, she was so stressed. And she was saying, maybe I can get some hypnotherapy too. I said, well, do this, wait and see, and then if you need to, we could do that. Well, it was interesting. There were 3 children. The first night, she had said it 3 different times, the process. And the next day, there was such a change in her stress level. There was such a change in her ability to discuss her child and her children, that it felt really good. And this is a family that both the mother and the father were doing it, which is great when you can have both parents on board. And the change in the children, some of them, actually all of them had small changes immediately. And then, but this child, when we did an evaluation 2 months later, was down to, it was either 2 or 3 very poor. They'd moved up. All of a sudden, those behaviors started helping it. And he used to get temper tantrums, like twice a week, roughly, and they would last anywhere between a half an hour to 2 hours. There were so many issues that he had, a lot of sibling rivalry, a lot of, bugging his bigger brother and instigating arguments, and a lot of issues in school, and so many more of these things improved just with 2 months of doing SllepTalk, and then continued to improve. So that felt, when I saw that, and you're not there, you can only get a little feedback from the parents, but when they do that again, it's taking that snapshot again, it was like, wow, what a shift. And it felt good, and the family started, the parents started to see their own behaviors, so in a way it became therapy for them too. They started to see, and they changed what they were doing, and their attitudes and their way of communicating, and the children also did. So it really, in a way, shifts and heals the whole family.
Chery, e uma dica para os pais que estão nos assistindo, que eles podem fazer, já começar um pouquinho ali para melhorar as crianças que estão precisando de ajuda, no caso.
So one of the activities we do when we're doing the SllepTalk training program is we do what we call the legacy tree. And so I want to leave you with a question, and that is, if you could give your child a gift that would last a lifetime, something they can take through life that you can help them build, what might that be? What do you think? Maybe pick 15 things that you could give them, and think about what it would take to get that one thing that everything else builds on. But I'm not going to answer the question. I just want to say that you have the ability as parents to give your children so much what is important. And the other thing is allowing that child to be that child. I think many times we have dreams for our children, and our dreams might not be their dreams. So seeing that child as an individual sometimes instead of an extension of the parents, what would that child like in their life? To be more open for that child to express themselves, that child to have their thoughts and feelings, and maybe look at, when we're saying things to them, how persuasive are we stating it? Are they getting it from themselves, or is it getting implanted? I've known people to go all the way through medical school or all the way through law school because it was going to be my daughter the doctor or my son the lawyer, and they get there and they go through the 12 years of school to get there, and then it's 12 years on top of school, and then it is, I don't really want to do this. So it was never their dream, it was the parents' dream. So if you could see that child and hear them and be open to them, and that would be a good gift. Also, remember that they hear just like in hypnosis, people can hear when they're on the operating table. So even when they're asleep, they hear. And so be careful what gets input into their minds, even when they're asleep and when they're awake.
Para quem quer conhecer um pouco mais sobre o SllepTalk, é um livro que elas poderiam procurar para entender e ler e saber mais sobre essa técnica fantástica.
If you were to go to the main website for SllepTalk, which is Joan Goulding's website, there is a section, it's called www.sleeptalkchildren.com, www.sleeptalkchildren.com. There is a book that's geared towards parents or people that might be interested as consultants initially, and I wish I had brought one down, but it's The Goulding Process of SllepTalk for Children. There is also on there a Portuguese workbook for the parents. It's a good portion of the book in Portuguese already translated, so that's there for you too. If you could go ahead and download that, that would be great. Also, there's a lot of information on Michael Arruda's website that's translated about the process, and that is www.SllepTalkChildren.com.br. So as far as books, that would be a good way of finding out. And we're really hoping to be, I'm not even going to say we are hoping. We will be planning a new class coming back to Brazil. Our visa is good for 10 years. We want to come back and visit again and help more parents and help more consultants and more children to really gain and be happy families, happy children through the Goulding process of Sleep Talk for Children.
Cher, muito obrigado mesmo. Tenho certeza que quem está nos assistindo adorou essa entrevista, vai aproveitar muitas dicas que você deu. E agora, suas últimas palavras, se quiser deixar também o seu contato, você que, na verdade, já deu os seus contatos, né? Mas suas últimas palavras.
I really want to thank you for having us and for being in the class. It was great sharing with you. I want to thank all of you out there for listening, and I hope that to see many of you in the future, or I hope that you contact Michael Arruda or watch the websites to find out who the people are here that would be happy to work with you as parents, and start working that the Sleep Talk process with your children, because there's 28 people waiting to have you come to them, and they do speak Portuguese.
Muito bom, muito bom. É isso aí, pessoal. O Hipnose na Prática trazendo os melhores hipnotistas do mundo inteiro para agregar valor, agregar conteúdo para você, para que você consiga hipnotizar mais pessoas, para que você consiga ajudar outras pessoas. E eu agradeço muito também ao Michael Arruda, que nos ajudou, que trouxe essas pessoas maravilhosas que a gente pudesse entrevistar e fazer esse curso e trazendo mais oportunidades para que você também aprenda. É isso aí. Acompanhe a gente, acompanhe o Michael, acompanhe a Chery, o Larry, que você deve aprender muito mais ainda hipnose e como ajudar outras pessoas. Tchau!
Tchau!